The first ever time, I don't remember. It was 2013. I was 17 years old. Oh my god, it's 10 years ago. When I came to Korea, I suddenly started to have like more and more friends that don't speak English. That's very helpful. If you call somebody, they only answer with okay, bye.
And they feel like they had awesome conversation,
yes.
but like... of you are actually interested in Korean language? How many of you have already started learning language in your home country? How many of you want to come to Korea and learn more? Well, if that's all true and if you are going into any of these categories, then this episode is for you. Today in JIMK India Meets Korea, we are going to talk about learning language in a different culture and then coming to Korea and learning language again, and what's the difference between the two, what are the similarities, and some advice that we can give it to you. To talk about that, we have an awesome guest whose unique journey and experiences are making her shine in Korea. Please welcome Alyssa, whose passion about language made her study Korean for 6 years? Not in Korea, but in Germany, which is a little bit different, culturally totally different from Korea. And then her passion and her curiosity about Korean language made her come all the way to Korea. Let's dive in. Hi, Alyssa. Would you like to just introduce yourself, your background, and what are you doing?
Okay. I am Alyssa. I'm from Germany. I'm 27 years old. Yeah. I studied Korean studies and American studies in Germany, and I also went to Seoul National University. But only for summer school. I didn't go for a long time.
That's fine.
And I'm here.
So, what sparked your interest in Korean language? Like, what made you think, like, oh yeah, I should learn maybe Korean language?
Okay. I kind of hate this question because I get it asked like almost every day.
I know, like everybody asks you, why Korea?
Why are you here?
Why are you here?
Hard, because for me it was always like obvious that I want to do that since I think 13, 14 years old.
That's young.
Yeah, and so it's like really hard to pinpoint
like what made you...
why I'm here. But it's just part of my life anyway.
So let me rephrase that question.
Okay.
Then what makes you, or which part of Korean language is like really attractive to you? Like for example, for me, it feels like when I talk in Korean, I feel a little bit more connected to the culture.
Well, what I like the most is that Korean has a different feeling.
Yeah, it has.
Than other languages. So even if you translate it word by word, for example, the word like 제발, it can mean please, but more like the connotation of it is more like I'm begging you. It's not like can you do this please?
No, it's not always.
Yeah, and I like that if you have like a language, if you learn that like this, then you can always like feel the language a little bit different.
I guess like then I found a really interesting example of that is like which is yes, right? So that's yes.
Yeah.
Like, if you change it, what is that called?
Intonation.
Yeah, of it a little bit. That is like a question.
Yeah, there's like what?
Like
I understand.
I understand.
Yeah, there's like if you call somebody, they only answer with okay, bye.
And they feel like they had awesome conversation,
yes,
but like it's almost done. Yeah, that's that. I can get that. Totally. When I learned Korean and when I did not knew Korean, one of the part where I feel that this is why you learn Korean is like you understand even the old people or the people on the street, and like you see like how they talk and how they are connecting to each other, and it's so fascinating. And they don't know that you can talk in Korean, right? And then they're like, oh, she does not learn. Sometimes they talk about you as well in Korean language, and it's like, I understand what you're saying. Thank you for complimenting me. I'm pretty, or like I am tall, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So then, like, since your passion or you wanted to learn Korean for such a long time from 14, then that started your journey in Germany. How was your experience of learning Korean in Germany? Like, how long did you learn, or do you had any friends there to practice together?
Okay, so I started learning Korean before going to university.
Wow, that's young.
And that's terrible. Don't do that. Because at that time there were no like real resources online, and in the bookstore I remember there was one book. It was okay because it just had vocabulary and like sentences.
When was it? Like, that means it must be like
11, 10.
10, 11.
Yeah.
Oh, that must like 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah, there was only this one book, and I still remember it because I used to practice a lot with it. And until now, I don't remember like a single like mistake it had in the book. So it was a okay book, but it only had like sentences and words, vocabulary. So when I came to Korea, I could kind of talk to people, but
it's like really bookish.
Yeah, it's just memorized. Everything is just memorized. So if you change it a little bit, I was like, oh, okay, I don't understand. I'm sorry.
It's really fascinating that like that's the way it's been taught. Like the teaching system is kind of similar in Korea when you learn the language.
Yeah,
it feels
right.
like there are a list of words that you have to know, and in the exam you have to like fill in the blanks or something like that by finding the right word that you remember. It's really fascinating how the Korean sentence structure is kind of similar to Indian one. Is like you have the subject first and the verb always goes in the end. Like 나는 학교에 간다. So मैं school जा रही हूँ. But in English it's like I and then verb and then go to school. The object comes in. Like, how is it in German?
It depends on the sentence, but it's really hard for me. It's really hard to translate German to Korean. So in my head, I think in English because it's easier.
That's interesting.
If I translate to Korean, but yeah, it's almost like the opposite. So there's also, I know things. It's just that the theory is so long ago, but the feeling is I think from English it's easier to translate to Korean, and even when I translate from Korean to German, is like I have to think. I'm sorry. I always tell my friends, like my German friends or my family, I'm always like, okay, wait, give me a second to like think of the whole sentence.
So that means you're translating Korean to English first and then English to German
That's
first,
easier.
maybe.
If you do like Korean to German direct, at least for me, it's very hard. I think if you're on a certain level, I have.
So this is like another question I feel like a lot of the viewers might be curious about is when it comes to learning language in a different country, like when you learn Korean in a different country, which was Germany for you, what are the challenges that you face?
Okay, so in my university, we do it a little bit differently from other universities because we have a lot of focus on old language and language history, and we have a grammar class, we have hanja, we have practice like Yonsub class, and we have
speaking?
No, it's not speaking, it's language activation. So it's like speaking but also not. And in Yonsub and language activation, we do like daily language, what you use, and
the practical.
Yeah, just the practical.
Of,
how do I go to bank? How do I buy stuff at the supermarket and stuff like that? And in grammar, you really
doing the grammar.
Grammar, yes. You have sentences, and then you do like what's the subject, what's it the marker, like what time is it?
Like,
what formality is it? And it was fun because you only had to focus on one thing, but over the time it got harder, and then it stopped being fun. Let's be honest.
Like so many things. It's like iamalu, and then I don't know. I don't even remember. But all those things.
They don't.
Confusing, yeah.
We don't have that in Germany, like the markers. And we had to learn so many, and I still remember. Okay, first year we had Hanja, and second year we had Hanmun, which is like the above Hanja, so you have to translate like old language.
I don't think like lots of countries teach that.
Yeah.
That's like really good way of teaching, because Hanja, some of the Korean words sometimes, like for example, in means like saram, in like 인명의 in인가. So that in goes in so many things.
Yeah.
Like insang is like life, a person's life, or 인명, or like. But if you know that, then when you hear a new word, you would like able to understand. It's like, okay, I guess this
it's about people.
This in means that maybe, and it's about people.
Yeah.
And that's easy.
Well, we had a lot of that, so if you want to do that, go to Germany.
And how did the whatever you learned in Germany, did it really help when you come to Korea in day-to-day life, or was it like, what kind of parts were hard or easy?
So yes, it helped a lot, because the basics, to have the basics, really helps. And you can always fall back on it, and even if I don't know vocabulary or new grammar or something, or maybe I forgot the grammar or vocabulary, then I can still like fall back onto some like basics.
Mm-hmm. So that means like then you must be like actual almost fluent when you came to Korea in Korean language, and you did not had like that much.
No.
I want to know is because I never learned Korean in my home country.
Mm-hmm.
I just learned after coming here. So I don't know what are the challenges that people face when they learn it in their own country and when they come here. How that's different. Not study it from K-pop or K-dramas.
Yeah, that's a good idea, by the way. Do study with K-dramas. You pick up some weird, but it's okay. But I think the biggest challenge for me was there is no one to speak Korean with.
In your own country, right?
Yeah, so you have your other, like the other students, you have your teachers or like professors. If you do tutoring, you also have those people, but other than that, it's like really hard. And
to talk in the language, yeah.
Yeah, there is language exchange cafes and also language exchange partners. So like we met and this person wanted to learn German and I wanted to learn Korean.
That's an interesting and really useful one as well. Like if you can find like a language exchange partner.
I also had like bad experiences about that, not like language exchange, but like in general, that people started to make like really fun of me and say like, oh wow, you should be ashamed, you studied that and still your Korean is so bad. So at some point I started like to not talk to anyone anymore and was just like, maybe I should just give up studying like in general, because it's so hard and I'm struggling and I have to find like new people to practice with every day, and also like have to like keep going. And also your language exchange partners, they go back to Korea and you have to find a new one. And
but still, like at least you made some efforts, and people, if they can make efforts rather than not talking to any person, I think having a language exchange partner would be a lot more useful. And I don't know, this is like me. Even in Korea, when you do language exchange after coming to Korea, and if you just want to do language exchange with somebody, they like if you are shy and if you're not willing to put your needs as well there. Like I'm not saying that just care about what you want from it, but otherwise, this happens a lot with my American friends. That
stuck.
Instead of that, like they sometimes feel like they should be helping another person more than they are getting help with, so they are just talking in English first and then keep talking in that, because like then you have to know how to give and take rather than just like give all the time, otherwise you are stuck. So
when I came to Korea, I suddenly started to have like more and more friends that don't speak English. That's very helpful because you cannot opt out. It's also hard sometimes because like if you want to tell something and you're like, okay, Papa go.
Literally, Papa go really helps. When you first came to Korea, did you had like any kind of surprising experiences or like cultural differences that you haven't expected?
The first ever time, I don't remember. It was 2013. I was 17 years old. Oh my god, it's 10 years ago. I was 17 years old. My brain was still developing. I don't remember. What I remember is the first day I came. First of all, when I arrived, I instantly felt like, wow, this is where I'm supposed to be. This is my destiny.
Wow.
It really felt.
That's like drama. Like,
yes.
What my destiny?
Yes, exactly. Even I think it came out at that time too, like around that. And
ask me, I'm like, I think I came in December. Like it was literally snowing. The next day I came, so it's like, oh, first time snow ever, because in India, in my region, it did not snow at all.
Oh, really?
At all. Like, I never seen snow before I came to Korea. So it's like, oh, wow. And then the one thing I remember is like, we were staying in Myeongdong. I didn't know, there is something with Myeongdong when foreigners come here for the first time. Everybody stays in Myeongdong. So I was in there, and it was Christmas time, or like that December time, and there were two ladies. They were walking on the street by putting their hands, like holding the hands, and I was like, I want to have that kind of friend in Korea. When can I have that? I want to have the conversations like the way they are doing in Korean when I can do that. That was like the first thing that came to my mind, which I still remember. Everybody puts, like all the ladies puts makeup every time. That was like really shocking to me, because in India we just put like cream, a little bit of like a baby powder with sunscreen, and that's it. We don't do anything else.
I thought you meant like the girls were holding hands. I heard a lot of people were
like that.
Shocked. Yeah, they're shocked because they think like skinship means like a relationship. So I thought that's what you mean. Because I remember my only culture shock I had when I came now is my puppy. Because I came with my puppy this time, because I couldn't leave him in Germany for so long.
If we can share a picture, we can add it here.
And I thought, oh wow, Korea Seoul has so many dogs.
Oh yeah.
It must be so easy. There must be like dog shops everywhere and like such a wide selection of food and stuff. It must be so easy to find a good apartment and stuff. No, don't believe any of that. It's absolutely the opposite. Also, you cannot bring any food from outside into the country.
Back, if you can change anything about learning Korean, or if you have any advice for our viewers, what would that be?
Two things.
Okay.
First thing is very like preachy advice. The one that everyone says, don't be shy, don't be afraid.
And when you get the opportunity, grab it.
Yeah, and just like send out application for everything. If you get rejected, it's okay. Doesn't matter.
Nobody knows. Yeah, nobody knows. Like, if you want to really come to Korea and like do everything, just try everything you want to do and immerse yourself in language by trying, like taking the opportunity, speaking it out loud, even at home. I guess like that is how I learned. Or I repeat the sentences from dramas. Mm-hmm. Like the way they said it. Shiro, and then I was like, shiro, and like just do it. Just repeat the same thing. If you know, get a language partner, take a couple of apps, use the apps. Not every app is correct, as she said, but there are like one or two apps that we would recommend that she told us. I guess one was Anki and Drops. Yeah.
And Anki, with Anki you need to find
it's a community, right? Yeah. So it's not like always correct, but it is still like a good app to go with.
Yes.
And like otherwise watch all the reels or whatever. Like if you're interested more into social media, then even on social media right now there are so many language things, so do that. And best of luck. And if you have any questions, ask us. We will try to answer as much as we can. But before like we go, I really want to ask you more questions, but I think like we don't have that much of time, so we have to end this topic and this episode here. But we are going to bring you back. At that time we would like talk a little bit longer. And thank you for watching. If you have any questions for Alicia or for me or about language or about Korea, just like send us in comments. Yes. And before you go, like, subscribe and share so that like we can make some more awesome content. See ya.